God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen. When Jesus heard him, and when Jesus heard it, he was amazed by him. When Jesus heard what this centurion had to say, he was amazed by him. I don't know if I've ever told you the story of the biggest baby I've ever baptized. It was called Kwesi. I don't know what Kwesi means in any African language, but it wouldn't surprise me if it means really big. All I could think of as I went through the baptismal service was, oh God, don't let me drop this baby. He was very good. He didn't kick. If he had kicked, we would both have gone down. Unfortunately, a few months after his baptism, Kwesi became very ill. He contracted a form of meningitis that paralyzed him. And everyone was greatly distressed about this. I went to the city to see him, and I saw the doctor coming out of his room with a look on his face that told me everything. You know that way? He was practically in tears. And I went in to see if I could maybe bring some comfort to the mother, who was a very good member of my congregation at the time. And then I recognized somebody else in the room, the head nurse, or somebody I knew, it turned out. And she did a very unusual thing. While the mother was saying to me, you know, the doctor says nothing more can be done, it's really hopeless, and he's going to die. This elderly nurse said to me and to the mother and another nurse in the room, let's pray for this child. And we held hands and prayed for Kwesi at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I didn't see the mother for about 2 weeks after that, and then I said, how is Kwesi? I hadn't heard he had died, so I wondered what had happened. He said, amazingly, Kwesi's moving his limbs again, and the doctors can't understand why. My thoughts immediately ran to that nurse who had called us to prayer, despite the fact that the doctor had said, medically speaking, it was hopeless. She believed that healing was primarily about the power of God, and only secondarily about the power of modern medicine. And that's the right order in which we should think of these things. Our faith, you know, was kind of shocking. It was so simple and straightforward, you know. God is the power. All power comes from God. Let's pray for this child. I have been privileged, and perhaps you have too, to meet a few people in my life who have had faith like that. When you meet them, you don't forget it. You know, it's so obvious. One was the former Bishop of Jamaica, Bishop Swavey. Some of the Jamaicans probably are not old enough to remember Bishop Swavey. As soon as we met him, we thought, whoa, there was like an aura about him. I don't know, his faith was so evident. Now, this gospel today tells us that Jesus met somebody whose faith blew him away like that. Now, think about this. Jesus is our model of faith, right? We would like to have faith like Jesus. Imagine Jesus saying, whoa, This guy's faith blows me away. Jesus was really startled, shocked by this man's faith for a number of reasons. First of all, this man was a Gentile, a non-Jew, and he therefore did not have the background in the Jewish faith. He had not grown up with all the traditions. It is said that he had an interest in the Jewish religion, but he was at a great disadvantage. But somehow, this guy had gone to the heart of the Jewish faith and had come to realize that it was simple. It was about faith in the awesome power of God. He was a Gentile. How could he have faith like that? He was not a disciple of Jesus. Secondly, imagine Jesus said, I have not found faith like this. Not anywhere in Israel, not even from you 12 dunces that I'm trying to teach. That's what he was saying. He was not a disciple of Jesus. It says he had heard about Jesus. He just heard about it. The third reason Jesus would have been so shocked was that this was a Roman soldier. Now, a Roman soldier was not expected to respect the Jewish people. They despised the Jewish people. They despised the Jewish faith. Their take on this whole thing would be, if your God is so awesome, why are you an enslaved people? That's how they looked at it, you see. So, don't tell me about your God. If your God can't save you, he certainly can't do anything for me. So, that was generally the attitude of the Roman soldiers. But here was this outsider who had gotten it, as we say, who really understood what the Jewish faith was about. And Jesus could not get over it. He had only heard. He had not seen Jesus perform a miracle. He heard about this man exercising this kind of spiritual power, and he immediately understood what that was about. He equated it with his own military experience. He said, I have power. I have power over 100 men. That's what a centurion was. And I say to this one, go, and he goes. To the other, come, and he comes. If I'm exercising that kind of power in the material realm, Jesus is probably exercising similar power in the spiritual realm. Amen. And so, he can heal my servant. He can heal my slave. And so he sends for Jesus, and then as Jesus is approaching, he sends a message and says, you don't have to come into the house. I don't have to see a soldier to give him orders. I can send him and tell him what to do, and he better do it. So I understand. You don't have to come here. Just say the word, and my servant will be okay. That is when Jesus said, oh my goodness, this is faith that I have never seen. Interesting thing, by the way, is the fact that this man only heard about what Jesus did. That tells me that we should not underrate our witness. whoever told him what Jesus had done did him the greatest favor, don't you think? Yeah, that's why he could send for Jesus. He only heard about it. So you never know how the mere mention of Jesus' saving name can change the direction of someone's life. So we should keep on keeping on. We should keep on bearing witness to Jesus. You never know who is listening. You never know whose life you might change merely by having them hear about Jesus. But to go back to our central theme, this soldier, this outsider, according to Jesus, sets the bar, sets the agenda for the kind of faith you and I are called to have. That's the kind. Jesus wants you and me to have the kind of faith that is going to blow him away. But I have to tell you, I'm not there yet. I am not there yet. I'm at the stage where when I pray, I say, Lord, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. I know what you've done in the past, but this is a tough one. But I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt. I'm like the man who said, when Jesus said, what do you want me to do? He said, I know you have the power to heal, but I don't know if you're going to heal me. I don't know if you're going to do it for me. We have a little doubt. At least I do. I can only speak for myself here. But this man, this Gentile, this soldier, this outsider, amazingly sets the bar for us as far as faith is concerned. It reminds me of a story about a professor who was lecturing to his students, and they had no clue what he was talking about. And so after the class, they went and said, Professor, we didn't understand the word he said. Can you kind of bring it down to our level? And the professor said, not a bit. He said, I'm not here to lecture where your heads are. I'm lecturing where your heads ought to be. So Jesus isn't calling us to the level of faith where we are. He's calling us to the level where our faith ought to be. And he's saying to us, by doing that, you are capable of that. We are capable of that. We sell ourselves short. Jesus knows that we are capable of faith like that, and he demands it. He calls us. This is a high calling indeed. He calls us to work towards that level. Don't look at somebody else and say, well, at least I have more faith than Candy. No. That's not your standard. He's calling us to something much higher. Many years ago, I read this story of the centurion. I was sick. I forget what I had. I was in bed. And it kind of cheered me up. It impacted me, perhaps because I was sick, much more than it normally would. And I wrote a little poem about it, which I want to share with you. This isn't Shakespeare. This is more like what they call doggerel, when dogs bark. goes like this. A man came to Jesus to ask for help. A man came to Jesus for healing. My servant is sick, so would you be quick, though you need not come under my ceiling? The master was startled by that reply. I have not found such faith, not in Israel. He went on to say that just in this way, outsiders would become God's people. Well, okay, that happened a long time ago. A man came to Jesus, so what? The problems we face at this time and place are an entirely different lot. Perhaps not so different as you might think. The old problems have only changed form. I'm sure Jesus knew as much as we do about violence, hatred, and storm. Racism, oppression, the atomic bomb, pollution, drug addiction, and crime. These things that are happening are just today's fancy wrapping for the way man behaves all the time. He was an outsider, this Roman, this soldier, from a group that was subject to hate, yet he certainly knew much more than the Jew. God ignores all the ranks we create. That message is relevant for today. Human barriers are all fraud.